Hello, and welcome to Europa Nations Cup. This is a massive event over Halo. All of these nations put together from a European scene, from the likes of France, Scotland, the home nations, Scotland, England, Wales, Ireland, and then the Central Europeans coming in, and even South Africa making an appearance. 27 teams signed up for this massive cup, and as you'll see throughout the groups, there'll be group stage games, 4 teams or 3 teams in each groups, and the winners going on to the knockout round of 16. So with this being the first of its kind for the European scene, for the Halo scene as well, it's such a momentous tournament, and it's a really sort of bragging rights for a lot of these nations. Whereas you've seen online before, some like French players saying, "Oh, the French Halo scene's the best, the Spanish Halo scene's the best, the English Halo scene's the best." This is sort of the bragging rights. I'm Joe Sketch, and I'm joined with my co-caster Nighty here, and
hey
we are excited to get involved in this. So Nighty, any sort of opening comments you'd like to say about this massive tournament?
Well, first of all, welcome back, Sketch. It's good to have you back with Europa, and I just wanted to ask what you've been up to, man. Where you been?
So I have been very busy recently. I obviously have been kept up to date with the Halo scene. Really excited to be back behind the cast and scene. I haven't disappeared off face of the earth. I've just been focusing on my own sort of personal like drama sort of things. And
Sure.
I'm working 2 jobs as well, so my time is very much linked up into that. But with lockdown changing around, I've got more time to focus again on Halo, especially heading towards Infinite. With Infinite as well, Nighty. Obviously we had a reveal the other days ago. So what was your thoughts on the initial gameplay and that sort of thing?
Well, obviously, I'm excited. I've been ready for this for a long time. The gameplay showed that there's going to be good movement. I think the movement was very solid. I think the shooting mechanic looked great, and those are the 2 things that really, I've wanted to focus on the most. Another thing, a little tiny thing, but it's a big thing in multiplayer, is the grenade hit marker. I was not able to find a grenade hit marker. It did show when the grenade went off, when there was a stick, but not when there was any splash damage. So that is something positive to take away. Obviously, the graphics were nice, the music was nice, all that jazz. But, I'm focused on the multiplayer. We've got a lot of top talent, a lot of players that are practicing Halo 5 right now, getting ready for Halo Infinite. And just seeing that we're getting something new after 5 years, man, it brought me back to the days when, I saw the first Halo 2 glimpse back in the day. Man, there's so much going to happen for us in the next coming years. It's too good to be true.
It really is huge as well, and especially for the Europa scene. This is sort of the big the like kickstart almost for Infinite. So going on to this first game, we've got France 2 versus Italy. So a bit of a background between these 2 teams. France 2 being the highest seed, and really sort of focus on the core 3 observers.
He really did a good job. A lot of his rosters were good. He was on some good teams, and he he showcased that he has the ability to play at a very top level, because he was playing against some very good people in those events. Those were open to the world, and he was showing his talent big time, showing that Italy, I mean, a lot of these guys, they go unnoticed, but if they were able to come over to America, they'd be able to show the boys over here that they can hang just as well. And it's just it's just a matter of location, really. Xavier did a fantastic job, and I was really impressed with his play. He is currently at a 1572 Onyx, so not quite at the champion level of the players that he's playing against in this match, but I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. But the final mark I'd like to say before we get into this game is this is a huge game in this group stage. Two teams going to be progressed through the group stage. Finland being the top seed. This is your second seed of France and third seed of Italy playing against each other. So this is a massive game to start off, and almost a must-win for both these two teams. And I think that's the key part we have to focus on. And I'm ready when you are, Nighty, as well to hop into this.
I'm ready to go, man. Yeah, this should be good. We haven't had any Europa action in a while, so this is really exciting for me. I'm up pretty early. I got up at like 7:30, had my coffee this morning, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
This ready to go.
Yes, sir. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think both these two teams play very quickly as well, and such a classic opener of CTF Truth to kick things off. Will show sort of the team play of these two teams. They've all been grinding. They've all been putting in the scrim hours just to have that bragging right as the best sort of nation ready to go. So I'm absolutely pumped for this one.
All right, so no bias. What are your predictions?
I think France will take this one.
Okay, 3-0. Is it going to be a 3-0?
I think it's going to be a 3-0, but it's going to be close games between them, definitely. So we're jumping on board with Marder here. So Camo is the straight up the first with the push one. I do definitely see the French team all over the Camo side here. They do pick that up. So initial good start from Teams France. And as I said before, this core three of Marder, Kamza and Xerphos have played together. They know each other's sort of abilities, which is a massive thing in Halo. And you can see this right off the bat as they're already pushing into the blue team's flag.
All right, just to be that devil's advocate, I'm going to root for the Italian boys over there, and I'm going to give them a nice 3-2. I'm going to bring this to a game 5. Definitely want to see some exciting stuff from them, but right away we see Xerphos going to be holding down Pink 2, but gets taken out by Xavier there. Never mind. I'm sorry. I meant it's a best of 3, so that going to a game 3. I meant. But immediately we're going to watch some Xerphos action over on Carbine. Look at that confidence jumping out there while he's no shields, just to put a little bit of extra damage in. He's going to manage to go back to his base and regain with his team and to push over on the pink side of the map, which is a much more important place on the map to be. Immediately 2 dead for the other team. He's going to push into pink 2, get some nice shots. Great teamwork coming out of the French team.
Yeah, absolutely really smart play from Xerphos there, dropping down from the Carbine side, realising that they needed to leave that area as his team were already pushing onto the P Street. And you can see that rewarded with a cap. He's still alive there, Xerphos. Good shots onto the top middle, and he's pulled the flag away, and it's in a good position. All of the blue team, all of the Italians are spawning out Carbine side, and they need to make a decision if they want to push across Car or push across top middle to stop this flag, as the French are still running it here. And there should be a clean cap and be 1-0 up as we early on here. The Italians been almost filtered into the Car Street, and a wingman coming in for Xerphos as well. So great start from the French here.
So I've got my observer mode open over to my left, as well as watching the feed, and I just watched Mata absolutely destroy in the base alone. He got about 6 or 7 kills by himself, just holding the team back while the flag was being ran. He almost got an overkill. He got that triple. It looked so good. Oh my God, that man is on fire right now.
You can see the Italians all sort of soaring in to try and stop this flag. A good touch away from the Italians here, but Kronos with camo and flag in the back of base. Fantastic play from Marder, as you said, but also to reference Xerphos staying alive that whole way. He did get a wingman on that run as well. And that's just what we talked about before this start of this game, the team play of the French, obviously knowing how each other are playing. The Italians maybe just about getting used to each other's play styles. And another wingman coming in from Kronos, as you see on stream, still with that camo, but we'd just like to see if that flag is going to get read, I believe, as we go 2-0 up in the game.
Yeah, and that camo play is going to be huge right there. They're going to have the time on it. They're going to be ready for it in the next minute coming up, so look for that. Having that camo control is the perfect timing to take a flag and try to make moves, because that camo player is going to be out of the focus of the other team. Right here, top middle control coming out of Zircon. He's not going to be able to stay alive long. The French team shot is just too powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. They're still controlling that P side. Bit of a carbine play from Kamza here. You did see Italy try and get control of P, but top middle control seemed to be all on the French side. And for me, if I was Italy, I'm seeing a lot of staggered pushes here. I think they need to sort of communicate themselves. Okay, let's wait until they be spawned. Let's push out as a unit, which you can see the French are doing as they push into the blue team's base once again.
Perfect shots by Zerthos. 2-on-2 at the moment. Going to see a push into the base. A lot of individual flanks going in. We're seeing that being countered, though. They've pretty much caught on to each other's little trickery there. We're seeing some two-on-two pushes right now over on the pink side. The camo's about to be up. I'm watching it on my observer, seeing when it is about to pop. I have not seen it. Man, this is a late camo. Good Lord, 35 seconds. They pick it up at 33. The camo player is still alive. That is going to be Mr. Onos. I'm not sure which player that is. Onos on the red team. That's going to be Kronos. Kronos has the camo. Let's move on over to him and see what he's doing. He's going to be pink too with it and trying to make a little cheeky maneuver up there. And he is top middle with the noob combo. And he is absolute. Oh my God, he's got two players looking at him. Oh, he's going to get help. And it was so close.
It was a fantastic play, almost to draw all of Italy's attention towards Kronos there, top middle, with the plasma pistol, almost holding down top middle. He had the team play, but it was a nice kill in the end, coming in from Italians to get rid of camo. So no need to have to worry about that anymore. They definitely need to be aware that 33, if this game goes on for another minute or so, 33 is the next camo. We do see some Italian control here over a Peace Ride, and they are pushing into the red team's base. But you have that with White Stee at the back of red team base, and they are getting the slays here, so there should be a pull at least from the Italian side. They just need to make sure that they're spawning a red team over at car side and get someone to P2 for that control.
I gotta give a shout out to the Italians, though. They are making sure to stay aggressive and proactive. They're not waiting for the camo to make a move. They were going after the camo player and taking him out, making sure he was a non-factor. And that is going to be very important when you're talking about this French team, who are just massively aggressive so far in this game. You do not want to let them have any room to breathe, because they would have been in their base and getting that flagpole, ultimately allowing that camo player to wreak havoc. So that was a very, very important thing to see. And it's probably going to be something that we see more of in the coming games, that proactive play from the Italian boys is really going to be big. But now this might be the first cap for them. It's looking good, but we've got the camo in the hands of a French player, and that's going to be three down for Italy.
Huge kill though on the camo player again from French, but also Italy left the P side completely and let the French get the camo here. It was a fantastic play off of the initial camo kill, but it was all for nothing in the end as the French team get that re and they win the first game 3-0. So I think there's some very positive, good things from the Italian side. As you said, the aggression was always there throughout all of it, and they almost were giving a game to the French. They were being very sort of responsive and quick in how they play. And I think the slays sort of show that it wasn't, I mean, admittedly, overall, the assists are a key thing there. 12, 12, and 12 coming across the board from the French team. That's huge team play. And as we mentioned before this game started, they were all about that sort of team unit pushes.
Yeah, like you said, the slays pretty much on the same side. You know, they're pretty even. Like, yeah, there's a little bit more tipping in the favor of the French, but the assists is where it really comes out, because you see the damage. The damage is pretty much even as well. You've got around the 2,000 mark for each player. You've got Zircon really going huge with almost 3,000 damage. So the damage was pretty even. The slays were even, but the assists, man, they were putting multiple pistols on each player that was pushing out top middle. Italy really had no chance. Every time they were coming out, there was always a synchronized shot from the French boys, and that is just amazing. That pretty much tells me it's great awareness on each individual on the team and extraordinary comms. Their comms must have been just lit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely, they knew what everybody wanted to do. They knew exactly their game plan going into that game. They knew their game plan going exactly back into this game, and as you said, those team shots make a massive difference. As you said, damage across the board equal, but having that team shot, meaning that whenever Italy were pushing anywhere, having two gunsmen at all times, it really was a massive sort of dominant performance, at least in the assists from the French here. And I think that's the top middle as well. Top middle control was huge on that.
What I like to see as a competitor is the amount of priority put on the camo. There wasn't any moment where I was like, oh, well, both teams are totally unaware. Like, or maybe one team was unaware. Both teams were absolutely making a fight, making the effort to go for it, and were keeping up with it throughout the game. I never saw one that was missed. At the end, I saw kind of a double dilemma where there was a camo being gone for, and then there was also the flag being pulled. So that's where it got a little choppy. But yeah, both teams are on top of it. They look very practiced and very prepared for this match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going into the Rig Strongholds, our second game here as well, I really want to see that aggression coming on board with Italy. Italy took a couple of minutes maybe to get into the game. They went 1-0 down very quickly, but then they sort of got comfortable with each other, and that aggression came in. And towards the end, they had some definitely good plays as a team. As you said, the one bit at the end where they sort of had to choose in a flag and camo was a bit choppy, but overall, Italy definitely progressed and looked a good squad, not towards the end. But aggression's the key in Rig Strongholds here. And again, there's a camo. We need to focus on that camo at the start of this game. So I'm ready to jump into it when you are as well, Nicey.
Yeah, the stronghold on this map is definitely going to cater to how fast the French play. Like, Italy just really couldn't keep up, and the stronghold requires the fastest amount of play in Halo 5. So if they're organized, if they can't just play fast, that's not the answer. The answer is going to be intelligent decisions, whether to go for this stronghold first, whether to go for that first. And sometimes you can make a bad play, you can make a bad decision, but if you make it together with all four players, it's probably going to work out. Exactly.
And I think that is a key massive thing for strongholds as well, is almost those unspoken decisions as well. Okay, right, we know that we need to focus on Nest push here. We need to focus on getting our home base or whatever. Not even the communication side of things. Those unspoken things is definitely a key thing as well. And that French team knowing how each other play, there'll be less sort of comms in terms of always constant chat about what they need to do. And it is France who get that initial camo straight away. And huge shots against White Steers. The camo player stays alive.
Oh, great individual battles going off. Very big win there to get that control now of the engine. Kronos is just going to take his time right here. I'm liking to see the patience out of him. He does not go to put any damage in. He just makes sure he stays alive by dodging the railgun. Once again, the individual play just very, very good, very disciplined out of the French. You see Mata is the last one up. He's not giving away his position. He's going to let his teammates spawn up. That railgun, though, we've got to go on board with him. That's going to be Xavier. Yeah, he is just killing it.
That's a huge start, and I think it's off the back of that railgun grab from the Italians, as they have just been putting pressure onto the French. It was a smart play from the French staying up in their battles, but you can't stop against a railgun firing at you. And it's a huge play from Xavier at the start of the game. And you can see the Italians up here with the triple cap and putting pressure on the basement. Well, let's see what the French do to counter this as they do grab basement again.
Yeah, it wasn't even the kills that he was getting with the railgun either. It was the threat. Him just having that thing was making a lot of the players nervous, was making them not want to push, and was ultimately holding down large areas of the map.
Yeah, definitely. We do see 2 kills coming out from the French here, as they do think of a third. So this should be, I believe someone's capping Nest on their team. There should be a Nest cap in a second, as all of Italy are going to be spawning back bunker and almost being funneled towards tower or back into engine. So with control looking towards the French team, let's see what they can do in terms of holding this. We see Xerfos trying to get up to top tower. He does have player T3, but he just backs out and plays his life, trying to play sneaky. Nearly as a spring jump, but is finally cleared out, and it should be tower control for Italy. But the French now have the 2 caps, and Italy need to be the ones to counter.
All right, and that is going to be a camo grab at 49. Want to see who's got it. It's going to be Kronos. He gets away scot-free. He's going to make some moves over here with the Predator combo. He's got the railgun with the camo. That is a dangerous thing to have. currently 2 dead for both teams, so he needs to make a huge play here. Not going to be able to hit that shot. That is going to be big. He's going to get punished for that one. That's going to be a stronghold in the favor of Italy. Thanks to that. 2 players in front of him. He's going to be able to get the kill. His teammates are helping him to secure the next.
I really, really like that play coming in from Kronos. I mean, Italy got the cap on basement, but they almost said, okay, right, we know where 3 players of them are. Let's punish this, throw nades down into basement. Very tricky for Italy to get out. But Kamza made a huge play early on in that basement cap and stopped 2 players by himself with help from his teammate from Italy capping that basement early on. And now again, control is still in the French side of things. They look comfortable as Italy almost look the reactive side, always trying to push towards the strongholds, depending on what the French are doing here.
That camo had a lot more potential and could have been used a lot more effectively. I think the objective efficiency was just a lot stronger on the Italian side. I think Italy just made a very smart decision at hopping 3 on that stronghold. That's where you'll see like decisions like that being made are really what sets you apart in this game type. But as far as the slays are concerned, the French are all over Italy at the moment. You're seeing double kills left and right all over the kill feed. You're seeing great trades coming out of Kronos right there. And now the score is starting to get carried away here. And we need to see a lot more control of these power weapons and power-ups from Italy.
And the railgun has just spawned up, and is Mashra going for it. He doesn't get it. I think Xavier's picked up a railgun again. He had a great start to the game with this railgun, and let's see what he can do with it this time round as well, as he tries to hold rail spawn and white corner almost by himself, it looks a moment. He is taken out. Didn't see any team help from Italy there, and they didn't even get the cap onto the nest during that play as well.
You can't have that happen. He was the last player up for the French, and you can't give up a kill like that. That's a dumb death, in my opinion. In that situation, you really got to stay alive, especially when you have a power weapon. And now you see that it's not good. The camo got into the hands of I believe it was of France. France was able to grab that camo. The camo was around 48. Maybe 45 seconds, so look for that coming up in about 1 minute and 15. But yeah, that just is not a type of death you want to see. They've got to play a lot smarter when it comes to going down when there's the last player up. When you have the numbers advantage, you've got to play to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another unwritten thing about it is if Xavier stays alive there, he also pushes attention towards himself. The longer he stays alive, the more the French have to try and focus on him, especially with Railgun as well. Railgun having a massive impact. And as you said earlier, even if he's not using it, the threat of that on the map is huge. And Zircon there almost making a solo push towards the nest, and it isn't looking like it's going to go through. And at the moment, Italy seems scattered. They seem like they don't have a game plan. They're a bit almost reacting on the French pushing them. And as you said in the first game, they really need to be putting aggression towards the French side here and making some sort of team play, as it seems to be a lot of individual players trying to cap strongholds at the moment.
Yeah, there really isn't any single push like we were seeing earlier. Right now, we do have 2 players from Italy able to take this stronghold in the basement. That's going to be big. If they can start getting some momentum and start snowballing this game right here, this is where they could come back. It is never too late in a stronghold game type. The game can just end out of nowhere if you get a nice triple cap and get some nice slays. The camo is about to be up. It looks like it might have just been shot down, so it is in the basement. We're seeing 3 down for France. They can't. But the last French player, the last guy, once again, man.
Zerfos going huge there, picking up that camo, getting the slays for France, and grabbing the camo. That is every single camo so far been on the French side. And is he still up alive here as well? He is. He still has camo in Whitehall, looking towards the ledge as they are spawning at back bunker. And that's such a power position. Great shots from Zerfos as well, with the perfect hits there. And it's split spawning Italy as well now. So you see Xavier, solo cap and BR base. He's going to be cleaned out. Rest of Italy spawning carbine. And they're going to have to make a play towards basement. But they're almost being forced there. And the French know that as well. Camo's still in Zerfos' hands. And that's a massive play. Massive play from them.
That is 2 times now that we've seen, I think it was a 3-on-1. 3-on-1 scenarios. 2 of them. Where the France roster was able to pull out a crazy. I'm not sure if it was the same individual, but their team was able to clutch up, going big when they need to the most to close this series out.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic play, and that was just the highlight there. All across the board, though, I'd like to see the team shots again from the French team, as they just looked like they always had two players pushing into different positions, and a lot of individual plays on the Italians trying to cap strongholds almost desperately towards the end of that game.
Good Lord.
And look at those assists across the board. 18 from Kamsa, 13, 14, 10. And on the other side, it's almost, you can see the distance obviously being heavily outslayed, 22 and 10, 24 and 13 from Kronos and Marder. And I mean, that's just a dominating play on the rig strongholds there.
I've been keeping track of a lot of the individuals from Europe. I'm still learning. There's a lot of guys over there with a lot of talent. But boy, I haven't known much about Mata, but I need to learn. This guy was really impressing me. 3 perfect kills. His accuracy was at 62%, 3,500 damage. I mean, the man could do no wrong. He was running around winning all of his pistol battles, super aggressive, was having smart play too. A lot of the times I saw the French players, it wasn't just dumb kills. It was very well thought out, calculated pushes, and they were just taking over the game. Absolute domination from France.
Yeah, he's involved in 37 kills as well across the board in a really strongholds game, and it almost looked, even though the score was 157, the French team looked almost like in control most of that game. I mean, at the start, Italy had a really, really good start. They weren't able to sort of backpack off of that and improve going forward. And as soon as the French got control, they didn't lose the control. And as you said, Marder, what a game from him. But across the board, I mean, fantastic plays.
He had 5 double kills. I mean,
jeez.
You're basically, if you're coming off your spawn and forget about the double kills. Like if you're just going 2 for 1, if you're trading, if you're able to just get 2 kills every time, you're putting your team in a great position because you're basically putting them in a 3v2 scenario every single time. And that's exactly what he was. He was just a bulldozer.
Yeah, I mean, this, as you said, but you've hit the nail on the head there, Nighty. It wasn't just him as well. Xerxes, Marder both having 3 and 2 double kills as well. So having that team shot, I think, is a key thing as well, as we emphasised. And for the Italians as well, in their shoes, spawning up and being constantly put under pressure from the French teams. And I saw a lot of split spawns, which in a game like Strongholds is very difficult to get out of this split spawn cycle between the players, especially with Italy not knowing each other's playstyles as much as the French team. And the team shot across the board was fantastic.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the slaying was great, individual skills great. I'm sure the comms were just flying off the handle. But also look at the objective play coming out of France. They had so many secures and defenses, and it was kind of. It was so lopsided that you would have thought the game should have been over a lot faster. I mean, that is insane. They had 4 stronghold defenses from 2 separate players, and there was only a single one from the entire team of Italy.
Yeah, I mean, this for me, this also shows going on later into this group stage, France too are going to play against a really, really hot, strong Finland side. But the way they're performing against this Italian side definitely shows that they can give them a game later on in the group stage. And I think that'd be a really good one to watch out for. But France too, winning against Italy here is huge as well. This almost cements that top 2 spot for them, depending on how Italy react. And Italy now have to go and win against Finland almost to make it out of this group. But saying that as well, I think Italy did play really well. They are a team which is very new to playing with each other, and they did show some good individual plays. The team plays where it sort of fell off. But that's because, as we mentioned beforehand, this France team have been playing together for a very, very long time.
Yeah, that's tough to beat. I mean, when you've got, these rosters were formed, a good ways ago, and they were allowed enough time to practice and get prepared for the Nations Cup. But when you've got 3 forces teaming on LAN, I mean, that we're talking years of experience playing with each other. That's tough to beat.
I remember going back in the day to Gfinity Cups, playing up against these three players, Zerpas Mada. I think they had Nash as well, which is another French person, and Cams as well. But it's that core three across 3 years experience. You can't just learn that as a new squad in Italy, even with 2 months or even with a month of practice. There's definitely that sort of unspoken synergy between those three players. And also Kronos as well has played with these players. They're very sort of big matchmaking and online presences, played in a lot of cups. That's sort of showing in this game matchup we just saw.
I think it was a good one to open it up on, and you were right. Your prediction was spot on. 2-0 from France, and I can't wait to see more from them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as we said, that was a big clinch in the games, and having now Finland are going to definitely be watching that France game and thinking, actually, this is going to be quite a good matchup between them. And yeah, I think I really enjoyed it. The intensity and aggression of the play, especially in that initial Truth game, was really, really good to see. Both teams sort of giving it them all, not sort of sitting back and absorbing pressure. It was almost pressure to pressure to pressure. Which is nice to see. And I think that's what these two scenes, the French scene and the Italian scene, are known for. It's such high aggression play, and the coordination from the French as well just was too good for Italy.
That's one of my favorite things about the Nations Cup, too, is there is going to be a lot of bragging rights that want to be had, and national pride. You know, people want to go into this, and there's going to be some rivalries that are going to happen, some stories, some narrative is going to pop up. I'm just really excited to get this thing going and just get on later down the road, because it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something which has been going on the European scene for a long time. As Europe has so many nations playing Halo and competing, and maybe different nations obviously never normally team together. So you've seen Kimbo, who normally teams with the likes of like Englishmen or on that side, but never forming a German squad. So now him matching up with Speed. That German squad is another sort of bragging rights of them, because the French have said, we're the best Halo nation. The English have said we're the best Halo nation. The actual individual home nations battling up against each other, as I think the next matchup on stream is going to be a Wales versus England. So a huge sort of rivalry between those home nations, Wales, England, Scotland and Ireland. And with the 3 England squads here, it could potentially come home as well.
Could come home after 45 years of waiting. It could.
Yeah, exactly. not as equally as big as a football, I guess, but that Halo as well. But it's always the bragging rights for all these nations as well. And it's always little games as well. It's not necessarily it's the placements, but also the little games where you see the nations match up against each other and having that bragging right is definitely a huge thing. And almost you have that bond as fellow countrymen, which you don't necessarily have when you form a team. You see a lot of Central European teams formed of different players from different regions. Even going towards LAN, I remember there's been Netherlands playing with Israel, and there's been Germany playing with Wales, and all of these different matchups. Whereas now you just see a pure Welsh team or a pure French team or whatever the mix may be in the nations, and it is that sort of we now can say the French 2 team can say we're better than the best Italian team, for instance.
Yeah, we had something similar with our Microsoft stores in America. Yeah. They would have a team and they would play against another store. And there was that kind of just that pride of being from your city with your local teammates. Yeah. And we also had another league that was going on which was city to city based. We'd have a California team taking on a New York team. And that was really cool. We had a lot of pride. It's like, oh no, California love, man. We got to beat those New York Yankees, But this is awesome, man. I'm just really enjoying it. I think that a lot of the times when you have something like this, you do see a rise of talent. People are going to start to practice more. They're going to start to feel a little bit more competition than they normally would from just here and there tournaments. When there's a league like this where it's city-based or country-based, then you start to feel like you need to carry your own weight a little more. You need to get on and practice when your team isn't on. You need to get on and solo queue. You need to put in the effort by yourself, put in that extra bit of time. And so far from what we've seen, just France, fantastic work out of them. Can't wait to see what their other rosters have in store.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to piggyback on what you said, this is a catalyst almost for European scene. Infinite's just around the corner. This is the big tournament in Europe, Europa Halo, coming back and bringing all of these players back. Some of these players might not have played Halo for a long time. Some of these players have been playing Halo throughout the whole of Halo 5's sort of tenure in the competitive scene, and having them all sort of link back and all starting to scrim again, playing custom 8s, just playing online matchmaking, seeing familiar faces which you hadn't seen for maybe a couple of years. It sort of it lights a fire in a lot of people. And as you said, you don't want to let your nation down. And the same for your Microsoft tournament. You don't want to let your state down. You don't want to let your individual one down as well. So it's such a big. It's almost like you're not just playing for yourself, you're not just playing for your team, you're playing for your nation. And okay, you might be England free, but you're still representing England as much as the other two England sides. You might be Ireland as well. And it's just such a big thing, because all these players would have played against each other at some point, right? There might be a matchmaking game, might be a scrim game,
right?
But it's not the same bragging rights as when you come up and you play them in the group stage, you play them in knockouts, and you win that game. And that's what it's all about. And this is such a big thing for Europa Halo as well, going on into Infinite. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of players now start coming back to Halo 5, start competing again, or start doing, even if it's just custom 8s, or getting a team together, practicing for the new release Infinite. And it's great for the scene overall, I think.
Yeah, building up to Infinite, I'm seeing that there's a lot of, not necessarily drama, but just a little back and forth between the players, a little fun banter. And you look on social media and Discord, it's starting to heat up. Tensions are starting to rise because people want to be the best. They want to dominate the scene. They want to take over. These guys are competitors. They're the guys that have been waiting for these moments, and we're giving them a platform. Europa is here. We're back, and this is better than ever. Honestly, I think a lot of the guys here at Europa have been doing an exceptional job. Today, I'm just glad to have you back, and we've got a new producer, Mr. Spilly. It just doing a fantastic job on his end as well. Doing the observer work. Got to give a shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Spilly, and also shout out to Unite as well. It's been fantastic so far. Really, really, really good, fun, exciting game we just cast as well, and we still got 2 more here on the Europa Halo mainstream to watch and cast through. And I mean, it's such a nice thing. We have this Infinite release, and then we have this tournament coming through, and as I said, a lot of these players are and I've seen it on the North American side of things. I've seen the beef, and I remember back in the day when there's always this LAN announced in Europe, all these players sort of come out of where they've been, come back to Halo, and then suddenly the tensions rise on Twitter. It might be like a matchmaking game where people just get annoyed with each other. There starts to be some sort of like back and forth over maybe Xbox messaging, and then suddenly goes to Twitter. And I've seen it time and time again. The last month before LAN, it's always that big sort of build up, and it creates the scene as well. Without that sort of beef, as we call it, EU beef, there isn't that sort of obviously there's a massive drive towards it, but that almost spurs those players on. If you've got beef with someone else, you're not going to just sit back and relax. You're going to be training hard and grinding just to make sure that if you play them on LAN, you're going to beat them.
The Twitter fingers turn to Spartan trigger fingers.
Exactly. Yeah, well, it's what it is, isn't it? Like, but across the board, it's just. It's just one of those ones, and I've seen that, and I remember a game.
Well, it looks like Sketch might have taken a little break. I think he needed to run real quick, but we're going to go to a quick intermission. When we get back, we've got the match. What is the match coming up here? England 3 taking on Wales. Don't go anywhere.